I'm going to talk now about a modification, hopefully an upgrade, that I've done to this ULH engine. In previous videos you've likely seen the top end here, seen these little things jutting out in the cylinder spigot holes. They're not normally there, I put those there myself. In the past, someone has cut out the baffle plates that are normally cast into the cylinder spigot holes. I have an old 45 case here that shows what that would look like. Just cast right in. The cylinder sits in on top of that, with just enough room for the connecting rods to poke through. The theory for the baffle plates was that oil being flung up from the flywheels would hit the bottom of the pistons and work its way up into the combustion chamber and cause excessive smoking and fouling. Old flatheads used simple compression rings and no oil control rings, so that was a problem. Later on, bikes like Pans, Shovels, and Evos used a 3-piece oil control ring, eliminating the need for the baffle plates. However, this old motor would need them. I have modified the pistons to accept 3-piece oil rings, so that won't be a problem because someone has chopped out these baffles. However, I was on the S&S Vintage Forum, which is a really good site, really good source of knowledge for all types of Harleys and Indians. S&S has a web page. Go there, look under their Vintage Forum, and it's just a wealth of knowledge. Lots of people with lots of knowledge. Yeah, there's a fellow on there, Dick Lynn, goes by Frankenstein. He came up with this modification, and I think it's brilliant. This here, top case stud, what I did is countersunk a 3/8 hole. I don't know if you can see that, but the stud doesn't fit. There's a ring of space around it, and that goes in about a 1/2 inch. And then I drilled an 1/8 inch hole down into the case on an angle like that to a couple of passageways that lead to these little piston jets that I created. They're simply ordinary brake line that I soldered shut at each end and drilled these tiny little holes. And then when the oil pump is installed, there will be a pipe coming up to this banjo fitting, and then oil will flow around that stud to the hole going down, feeding to those 2 little piston jets, and oil will spray in a constant stream to the underside of the piston. Now, ordinarily, a flathead, that would be doomsday because it would smoke like a son of a bitch. But with the 3-piece oil control rings, that problem will be eliminated. What it does is it sends a cooling jet to the bottom side of the piston, because flatheads are known to run really hot in the top end because there's no valves up top, so there's no oil up top. So they tend to need rebuilds more often than overhead valve engines because they get so hot. Compounded with that, I purchased a kit from American Cycle Fab. This is a 4-vane rotor for the oil pump. It uses 4 feed vanes instead of the standard 2-vane pump, thereby hopefully doubling the oil output. So I will have oil, plenty enough oil output for the engine, and also for my modification to spray these piston jets. I did a mock-up earlier, and I just used a syringe with water to demonstrate what the piston jets will operate like, and I'll post that up next. But that's the thing. Piston jets, which are now being used on the new Indian engines as standard equipment. It's a brilliant idea. My friend told me that his oil tank runs 20 to 30 degrees hotter, meaning that he's taking a lot of heat out of the top end of his motor, thereby saving it a lot of miles. He's expecting to get plenty, almost double the mileage out of the motor before it needs a rebuild. So that is a modification I'm willing to give it a whirl. There we go. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you don't mind.